going on. If you can, check us out at www.mycdk.com. As usual, the Israelites tend to be most practical knowledge. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Since 1969, I've been teaching the truth to so-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, First Nations, are the Israelites. I'm going to touch on today the holidays. As many of you know, the Messiah disapproves of American holidays throughout the Bible. Why? Why is this the case? Because the worship of American holidays is the worship of other gods. We've proven that without the shadow of a doubt through our breakdowns of Christmas, breakdowns of an understanding, true understanding of New Year's, etc. I'm going to go to Amos 5:21 to start. Amos chapter 5, verse 21. I despise your feast days. Once again, these are our feast days. We made them up. There is no scripture in the Bible where Christ said to worship the day of my circumcision. Christian church lies and tries to validate the celebration of New Year's through Christ's circumcision. Their premise is that since they believe he was born December 25th, which he was not, the eighth day, which would be the day of the circumcision according to the law, was in Leviticus or Exodus, I believe, that he would have been circumcised on January 1st. That is a lie. Even if you can count, December 25th to January 1st is not equal 8 days. It's not 8 days, 7 days. Okay, so they can't even count, let alone keep their hands off of children across the earth, like the Catholic Church. These are our feast days. We made them up. They made this, commercial holidays. They wrapped up pagan festivals as commercial holidays and days to stand around a giant ball that drops in Times Square when there was a deadly plague running across the streets, running across the world, Omicron. And once again, you ran to celebrate Christmas, New Year's, and got a fresh batch of the Omicron. All right. That's Amos 5:21. This is Amos 5:21. I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Our solemn assemblies, the Lord's not going to smell it. What are our solemn assemblies? That July 4th barbecue, that Christmas dinner, that New Year's black-eyed peas and collard greens that you have with your meal. The Lord doesn't smell them up. The Lord doesn't hear it. The Lord doesn't give a damn. It's going to continue. Make sure so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are poor while they disobey it. It's going to make sure we're in the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder, socioeconomic rung, if you will. He's going to make sure we lead in damn near every negative category and every negative statistic. He's going to make sure that every other people on the earth look down upon us here in America and in the Americas. Why? Because we don't serve the Most High. We serve our own flesh, our own lust. And most of these holidays, that's what they're about, our own flesh. It's a day to have a nice meal, a day to have grandma's cooking, a day to have aunt's cooking. However, in the worship of another God, you can go to your family's house any day of the year, parents, what have you, and enjoy a good meal if they can cook. But the fact that we, the so-called Black Hispanic natives, do it on holidays that have been established by the Roman Catholic Church, an international group that has been implicated on many crimes, the chief of them being the abuse of children. The chief recent crime is the abuse of children. The Catholic Church has been committing crimes for 2,000 years. They started, one of their original crimes was the sale of penance or penitence. I don't know, I'm getting that word incorrect. I believe it was penance or indulgence, where they would essentially sell forgiveness cards. So you killed somebody, did horrible things to women, whatever. And if you went to that priest and you gave up that money, that greenback, if you gave him that gold coin, your sins will be forgiven. That's disgusting. You can't buy your way out of an evil life. You can't, trade evil and wickedness. You can't trade, your morality and conduct for gold and silver and dollar bills. That's what many people in this world believe because of the Catholic Church, that somehow your morality is tied to your bank account or tied to the number of zeros behind your bank account or tied to the stack of money that you have on your table. That has nothing to do with your morality. A lot of rich people celebrated this pagan holiday. It did nothing for them either. Once again, we running around thinking we're celebrating family when Christmas as well as New Year's is for Jeff Bezos. It's not for Jesus Christ. Christmas made Jeff Bezos rich, not Christ, the one the world calls Christ. It's not true at all. And then lie and say that some cat named Santa Claus is going to ride through the sky and deliver gifts faster than Amazon. Next day shipping. Amazon can barely get you next day shipping with the shipping delays, the issues in supply chain they've been having we're telling our kids that there's some man in the sky who only works during Christmas, with all the problems in the world, and all I can think to deliver this year is toys and gifts from Best Buy. Santa Claus is so great. Why did he deliver the cure for the Omicron? Why does the CDC have to step in and hire world experts in virology, pathology, etc., to develop vaccines? Why couldn't Santa do it? It's a joke, man. And the Lord's not with it. He hates and he despised our feast days, New Year's, Christmas, what have you. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor and choose none of his ways. And that's what we do. We envy the oppressor, try and set up gangs and name them after Italian mafias in different sets, etc. The Mexicans do the same thing with the Mexican mafia. The envious, desiring of the riches that he has, desiring of the culture that he has, desiring the hair that he has, desiring the shape that he has, when every nation on this earth wants to be us in some form or another. There's people in China copying Cholo or Chicano culture, people in China with their hat tilted back, pants sagging, what have you, playing rap music, what have you, all across the world. Okay? But we envy the people or the men that have oppressed us, that have sold us as slaves, that that have established policies such as redlining, which kept so-called blacks out of richer zip codes, out of zip codes with higher tax bases, out of school districts that were receiving higher funding from taxes from the state, etc. Policies such as redlining, policies such as public housing and government housing, which took you out of the shack and into the slum, which took you out of the countryside and into the urban ghetto. We're envious of these people. The Lord told us not to be. So it's for the man and the woman. And choose none of his ways. Don't choose any of his ways. New Year's is his way. Listen, it's a great holiday for America to celebrate. Americans want to celebrate it and get Omicron and get the next plague. That's up to them. And that's on them. Okay? I'm not here to tell you what to do in this land called America, but I am here to tell you what the Most High said. The Most High said to Black, Latinos, Natives, the Israelites, do not envy the oppressor and do not choose his ways. Don't partake in his ways. Drug dealing, drug cultures from them started with the hippies in the 60s. It was not at all endemic, was not at all a facet of so-called Black culture. It wasn't in our culture, man. It was not popping pills and shooting up. That was their culture. All these tats. Everybody's got a damn tattoo. Everybody's got a tattoo. Everybody's a drug dealer. Everybody's a damn. Every other woman's a stripper. So you can do this and that and the third. That was not our culture 2 or 3 decades ago. I say this several times. 2 or 3 decades ago, you would be shocked to see a Black woman's ankles. I didn't hear this, from the primary source, but I've heard this secondhand from parents, what have you. A few short generations ago, this wearing leotards and spandex and wrestling singlet out in public, this wasn't heard of in our community. But you can check Greek and Roman frescoes that show their women doing that since the times of Alexander. Okay, spandex shorts or those tight-fitting shorts that they wear that is popular in America now. That's not new. It's very, very old, like many things in this place. But we are not to choose any of it. Okay? Go to Luke chapter 2, verse 1. Let's press the lie that Christ was born on December 25th, which he was not. Covered this before. Worship of December 25th is Christmas, is the worship of the sun. In or around 247 AD, 246, I can't recall. Constantine folded the worship of the sun god, Sol Invictus, or Deus Sol Invictus, which was the day to worship the incomparable sun, which just so happened to be on December 25th. He took that and melded it with the worship of the birth of the Son of Righteousness, or Christ. Okay? It has nothing to do with Christ. We're going to show you that he was born in the springtime. This is Luke chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. Okay? Roman tax season, just like American tax season, peaked during the springtime. Okay? You can go look this up on your own. The Roman tax season peaked, it was in or around the springtime, March, April. And the peak of tax season in the United States, in the Americas, is in or around the same time, springtime. All right. Verse 2, and this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria, and all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And this is another clue that it was not in the dead of winter. Okay? The Romans made sure that their tax season was during the springtime, because you have to understand and just think for a second the vast territory that they controlled. They controlled the Swiss Alps all the way, to the lands bordering the Middle East. It would be silly, it would be stupid for the emperor, for the Caesar at that time, Augustus, to decree or tell everyone you will be taxed during the winter. People in the Swiss Alps, etc., would freeze to death, trying to go back to their home, to their village, their hometown, to be accounted for, and for them to be taxed. It would have had to have been during a time where the climate around the entire empire was at least somewhat favorable. Now, is March and April the warmest season of the month? No, no. But it's a time when things begin to thaw out and the temperature begins to become more uh, less harsh, if you will, less severe in most areas of that realm that you're in, that they were in. So this taxation was performed during the springtime for that clue as well. In certain portions of the Roman Empire, it would have been idiotic to have people walk in or around, at certain times. All right, verse 5. To be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. Mary was Joseph's espoused wife. It means espoused, meaning that the act of marriage already occurred. The act of marriage is sex. Sexual intercourse is what makes you married or joined to a person between man and woman. Okay, so Mary was Joseph's espoused wife. They had already come together. They already had sex, which is how Christ is in her womb. However, they did not have the ceremony, and that was the issue. That was why Joseph was worried. That's why he wanted to put her away, because he went about getting this woman in a form that was considered dishonorable in that time period. Okay, you have to think royalty, think nobility. Christ was in the house of David. Joseph was in the house of David. Mary was related to priests, so she was related to the line of Aaron. So these were two highly esteemed families. So for an act like this to go down in the highly esteemed family was very, very dishonorable. But nonetheless, they came together. All right. Verse 6. And so it was that while they were where Joseph had to go, to Bethlehem, because he was of the line of David. While they were there at Bethlehem in the tax season during the springtime, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. That's when Christ was born, in and around the Roman tax season, which is it's just the springtime. March, April. You can go look that up right now. All right. It was not December 25th. I dare any Christian, I dare the Pope himself to come on this platform, on any platform we have, and prove to us in the Bible that Christ was born December 25th. You can't do it. Okay? You can't do it. But I can show you here, with a little knowledge, with a little thinking, right? With an application of logic, that he was born in the springtime. Revelation 22 and 14. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have a right to the tree of life. Blessed are they that do his commandments, those that keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Of course, law, statutes, and commandments that are listed in the Bible were given to the Jews or the Israelites, if we have proven through history, archaeology, what have you, by the so-called Black Latinos and Native Americans. But people of that lineage that do those things, that do the commandments, don't pour crabs and tilapia, smoke, what have you, are alcoholics. Those that do those things, those that keep the commandments, are blessed. They will be given a reward. Okay, that they may have a right to the tree of life. What is a tree of life? That they may have a right to the kingdom of heaven, and rulership here on earth for specific people. Okay, that's the gospel. That's the good news. Okay, and they enter into the gate and they enter in through the gates into the city, which is how I'm able to say what I just said, which was that the kingdom of heaven, or tree of life, whatever you want to call it, is rulership here on earth, because there are cities. There is no city in heaven. Once again, there is no pie in the sky. Christian church live. The heaven will be right here, just like hell is right here. If you don't know what hell is, go to a supermax, go to a level 4 state prison. You'll find out what hell is in there. You'll find out what hell is in an ADX supermax. You'll find out what hell is and some of these slums, the East New York, Brownsville, okay, Haiti, the favelas of Brazil. Hell is definitely a place or condition that is beyond earth that you can go and see. Heaven is as well. Go to Billionaire as well. Go to go to these giant apartment buildings that they have downtown, driving the prices of rent as well as the prices of homes in New York City through the roof that are unoccupied. There are people on this earth that are so rich they can buy a $65 million condo, not a house, not a mansion, a 32 $65 million condo, and not be in it at all. Just to buy it and just have it. That's heaven, though. That's heaven. You can buy a whole floor in Billionaires Row and not even live in it. You are in heaven. You're in a state of rulership. You have a massive amount of power here on this earth. Heaven and hell are specific places. They are conditions here on this. They are not specific places. They are conditions here on earth. Those who keep the Lord's commandments will be able to enter the gates into that city. That city is at Jerusalem. Las Casinos and natives, this was an absolute waste of time. Christ was born in the springtime. January 1st is not the new year according to the Bible. Season of Passover. Season of the Passover is what establishes the new year according to Exodus 12th chapter. All right. When you celebrate the Lord's Passover, you are in the month of the new year. That's the month of the new year. The 14th day of the first month is Passover. Passover is typically between the months of March to April, depending on the year. All right. That being said, Precept 5001. ICBK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, signing off. You smash the like button, share, subscribe. That being said,